Hello everyone and welcome to a game that is most certainly not a classical one. So let me just fix the letter on the little robot. It's from the title Tuesday, and we still have 2 days, I believe. The Weissenhaus Freestyle Chess Tour starts on the 7th, so we do have 2 more days to check out some other games that were played in the meantime. And this is the one you guys suggested: Magnus Carlsen versus his friend and former second Jan Gustafsson. Obviously, the two know each other very well. They are colleagues, professional colleagues, and also good friends, like I've said. And no doubt that they know how each other thinks over the board. And no doubt Jan has helped Magnus prepare for World Chess Championship matches. And, well, Magnus will not play just anything against him, and that's why I think this game is very nice just for the opening choice, as Magnus, for his first move, opens with pawn to a3. This is the Anderssen opening, or as I like to call it, the grand opening. For those of you who have seen my Morphy saga, remember the final boss of the Morphy saga, the legend Adolf Anderssen, and he wasn't having a good time against Morphy. Morphy was just mopping the floor with him, and then in game 10 of their match, Anderssen deployed pawn to a3, and he defeated Paul Morphy. So it took him a lot, like over 70 moves. So it was a pretty crazy game, but beating Morphy with a move like a3, definitely it deserves to bear your name. So Magnus opens with pawn to a3, the Anderssen opening, and Jan replies with pawn to d5. In their game, Morphy played pawn to e5, so Jan deviates from that. We have knight to f3 and knight to f6, very bold, deviating from what Morphy played. And interestingly, it is already now, as of move 6, that we have a completely new game. It's as if you started off with a reti, someone played the d5, and then you played a3, because why not, and then knight f6. So yeah, also could be done by transposition. We have pawn to g3, pawn to c5, and the immediate pawn to b4 by Magnus. C captures on b4. You could also go knight c6, but Jan says, I'm not going to be bullied by you. A captures and e6, going after the pawn. So Magnus defends the pawn in a very weird way. He plays bishop to a3. Also b5 was definitely possible. Bishop to d6, and now bishop to g2. We have castles kingside, and pawn to e5. Jan grabbing the full center, and b5 by Magnus, offering a trade of dark square bishops. We have rook to e8 and pawn to c4 now, challenging Jan's strong center. And well, you could play something like maybe e4 knight e1. You can't advance pawn to d4 right away, as d3 ruins your plans, destroys your center, and well, the light square bishop comes alive. So after c4, Jan decides to capture on c4, and now we have bishop captures on d6, queen captures, and just a nice knight a3 going after the black queen. Jan throws in a pawn to e4, but Magnus says, well, there is this thing called the Zwischenzug in chess, plays knight captures on c4, and the queen to c5. You guys are probably wondering, as you guys are amazing players, can we sacrifice the queen here? Well, we could if the queen was defended. Then after, let's say, knight captures and you capture on g2 with tempo, if we had something to capture the knight with, then it would be an okay queen sacrifice. But as we don't, we're not going to play that. So queen to c5 by Jan, and Magnus goes knight f to e5, which is just weird. Why did Magnus do this? Well, his knight is attacked, so he has to move it. But why has he even gone into this? Well, we have to ask Magnus. But after rook captures on e5, he does not recapture right away. First, he plays pawn to d4. This opens up his position completely, and the light square bishop comes alive. We have e captures on d3, en passant. Now Magnus grabs the rook. We have queen captures, and just queen captures on d3. So this is the situation now. Magnus with 2 rooks, and Jan has 2 knights for the rook, and 2 knights are definitely worth a rook. So let's see how the game continues. We have knight bd7 and rook f to c1. Magnus with full development, preparing a nice rook lift, maybe with rook to c7 if the queen moves, and also just enjoying a very nice position. It's not easy for Jan to make moves. We have g6, creating some breathing room for the black king, and rook to a3. Now you can move the c1 rook, so the rook on a1 is not hanging, and also you can easily double up on the c file, or maybe even on the a file. We have king to g7 and pawn to h3. We have pawn to h5, and now pawn to f4, attacking the black queen. Queen to e7, now putting pressure on that rook on a3, and rook to c7, pinning the knight. We have queen to b4, getting the queen out of the 7th rank, and now rook to b3, chasing away the queen. We have queen e1 check, king h2 by Magnus, and now knight to b6. So still not very pleasant for Jan. He still has to develop his pieces, and well, you have to get the rook and bishop into the game somehow. And we have rook to b1, going after the black queen. Capturing at b7, well, it does win you a pawn. It basically solves all of Jan's developing problems. So after knight to b6, we have rook to b1, attacking the queen, queen to a5, and now queen to b3. Nicely going after this f7 pawn. And the threat can easily be avoided by a move like knight b to d5. But here, Jan well, just lost his mind, so to say, and he played bishop to e6. He attacked Magnus's queen, but which isn't very useful as the f-pawn is pinned to the rook on c7. So Magnus, of course, plays queen captures on e6, which, of course, all of you saw, as you guys are amazing players, and Jan now has to play rook to f8. And all of a sudden, Magnus is not just up in material, but also has a winning position. So let's see what he does. He plays rook captures on b7, grabbing a pawn, and also once he wins this one, then the b pawn, well, just reigns supreme. We have queen to d2, and now queen to e5. Okay, the knight is pinned. Can we attack it somehow? Maybe some g4, g5 action. We have knight to c4, chasing the white queen away, and queen to a1. Now the threat is just to win the pawn, and then the passed b pawn should win you the game. We have pawn to h4. Jan tries to create some threats here on the king side, and there's really no problem there. Magnus should just capture on a7 and be done with it. But Magnus played rook to b3. He added a defender to the g3 pawn, and now look at this. Jan plays knight to e3, goes after the bishop here, and now rook captures on e3. Magnus should avoid going after the knight here. Of course, both of them are very low on time, but rook captures on a7 is still the way to go. Magnus is no longer winning, but he is still slightly better. But after rook captures on e3, he completely allows Jan back in the game. Queen captures on e3, and now g captures on h4. We have queen captures on f4 check, king h1, and the rook to c8, now threatening rook to c1 check to win Magnus's queen. So Magnus has to play something, and I believe what happened here, if you look at the situation on the clocks, Magnus has 13 seconds, Jan has 4 seconds. Magnus almost lost on time, and then I think when he realized how much time he has, he also realized that it just takes too long to bring the bishop from g2 to c6, because you have to use a mouse, or maybe he was on his smartphone, I don't know. But it's quite a journey with the mouse to put the bishop on c6. If you do this, then you're okay. However, I believe Magnus spotted that he was going to lose on time, and he played pawn to e3, just maybe to get that second increment, and he thought, all right, then I'm going to play bishop to c6. But Jan just captured, and now you have a problem. Now you cannot play bishop to c6, as the bishop now is also needed to guard the h3 pawn, and that will also be winning for black. So here, Magnus played queen captures on a7, which also makes sense. You want to attack f7 and trade off the black queen, but he runs into checkmate. Jan plays it instantly, even with 3 seconds on the clock. He doesn't mess it up like Prag did in the game against Liam Le. Rook to c1 with check, king h2, and queen to f4 with check. Magnus missed this, and he was in this position on move 37 that Magnus Carlsen got checkmated in a most brutal way. So yeah, that's what you get. Doesn't matter who you are. That's the price of mocking history, and the grand opening should not be used, for laughs and giggles online. It should be used only in a serious match, maybe in a World Chess Championship match if you're down really, really by a lot, to get back into the game. But if you do it like this, you will pay the price. So yeah, brilliant stuff by Jan Gustafsson. If you guys haven't seen that game, I also made a video on it a couple of years ago, where Magnus pretends to be someone online, a noob, complete noob, and challenges Jan Gustafsson, who was having one of his sessions on Chess24, and then Magnus is completely crushing him, but Jan thinks he's playing against a beginner, but he's completely outplaying him, and then Jan figures, okay, obviously we're dealing with someone using an engine. But no, it was actually Magnus in disguise. I don't know. I'm pretty sure they haven't told him right after the game, so Yeah, but it's a really nice game. If you haven't seen it, will be the first link in the description below. Also a nice watch for you guys. But yeah, don't use A3 just like that. It has to be for for a good cause, and the chess gods will bless you, moving forward. So yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Very nicely done by Jan Gustafsson taking down Magnus Carlsen like this. Interestingly, they both started the title Tuesday with 4 wins, and then they both lost the game in round 5, and then this is round 6, so they face each other coming off of a loss. So yeah, it was definitely a big one. Jan continued to win, and Magnus in the end, I think I have the standings here. It was Alexis Arana who won with 10 points, Jose Martinez and Alan Pichot, Varuzan Akobian 9.5, and then with 9 points Magnus Carlsen. So this was a very, very important point for Magnus, probably one that caused him not to win the event. Then Jeffrey Xiong, Fabiano Caruana, Andy Woodward, Pranav, Hans Niemann, Jamie Santos, and so on and so on. I think I can make this a little bit smaller, but yeah. Was a pretty interesting event. Alexis Arana wins it, and but yeah, this is the game you guys requested, so here it is. Very nicely done by Jan. Hope you enjoyed it. I would like to thank Pierre Murad, Rani Lavi, Andreas Rosenthal, Andrei Schrade, and David Bacon for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing to check up on your wonderful suggestions and whatever else happens in the chess world. Thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day. And if you check out the video in the description below, there is also Medo chilling on the couch in the background for you to enjoy. See you soon.